Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Um, the video that I'm putting out tonight, I'm putting it out kind of late. It's been a long day. It's been a long week, actually. It's been a longer day today. But going through all of today's events and stuff like that, I came across some news that is actually not all over the mainstream media, and I think it should be. But of course, it's not, because then it's going to go against their narrative, basically. But I'm going to put out two video clips. I want everybody to pay attention because I have some thoughts to put into it that I think that everybody will agree on. And it's something that's going to be a little mind-opening, so I want people to understand and pay close attention to certain words that are going to be said, and I'll explain why. Okay? Something that definitely goes against the narrative of the left. And I, for one, am very surprised of the person that's putting out or saying what he has to say. As everybody knows, and I'm not an Eric Adams fan by far, not at all. I think he's a disaster in New York. I think that he does he's done a very big disservice to the people in New York, okay, and in New York State, in my opinion, and this country. But he does have something to say, and it kind of shocked me because I'm like, okay, like my title says on my thumbnail, you know, did he get red pilled? Is he grifting so like that he can hold on to his voter base? Or is this something else? And if it is, how far is it going to go? Okay. So before I play these video clips, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around, give it a thumbs up, and by all means, keep passing it to the youth. Okay, they need to know what's going on. I mean, obviously, they're all, you know, play a big part in this and in the future of this country and around the world. It's something that I think it's very important for them to know. Also, if you want to help support the channel, I'll leave a link in my description to my Cash App and my PayPal and my merch store, TrueOutlawPatriot.com. So with that being said, everybody seen the video I put out. I think it should have been pushed out more, in my opinion, of the college students that pulled down the Palestinian flag, okay, that was put up on their campus, and put up the American flag. Once again, I'm surprised that the mainstream media hasn't said anything about it, but it's because, you know what, they're losing ground and they know that they definitely can't speak on that. But now we have the mayor of New York, Mayor Adams, who's upset about certain things. And as you can see here, there is some, in my opinion, some jagoff on top of a building in New York waving the Palestinian flag as if they had that right to do so. Okay, so I'm going to play this. This was a clip by The Telegraph, okay, and it shows Eric Adams speaking out about this. And then we'll continue to the next video after this one, which you're going to find very interesting. And it's not a long video. It's only about 6-7 minutes long. But I'm going to point out a few things, and then you people can tell me exactly what you feel. So without further ado, here we go.
That's our flag, folks. Don't take over our buildings and put another flag up. That may be fine to other people, but it's not to me. My uncle died defending this country. And these men and women put their lives on the line. And it's despicable that schools will allow another country flag to fly in our country. So blame me for being proud to be an American. And I thank Commissioner Daughtry for putting that flag back up. We're not surrendering our way of life to anyone. There are people that we have been watching in organizations that are not part of the campus. We've been very clear. There are individuals and organizations that are not students. We're seeing a shift in tactics that are being used, destruction of property, destructions of cameras, and so many other things. We saw paraphernalia and pamphlets about disruptions. There's a series of things that the Intelligence Division has brought to make a determination that there's an influence going on right now. Now, we know that people would rather us put in a neat little bow, But that is not the way law enforcement operate, and we're not going to release any information that is too sensitive to release at this time. We know there are outside individuals that have been influencing of this issue.
Okay, so that's the end of it. You heard what he had to say. He's upset about what happened with people trying to fly their flag over the American flag in America. I've been saying that for the longest. People on the right have been saying that for the longest. But, you know, I'm not buying it 100% on what he's saying now. Do I think that he holds the American flag true and dear to his heart? It's a possibility, okay? But do I also think that he's beholden to the leftist agenda and regime? Yeah. So that's a decision. If that's the case, he's stuck in the middle, and he has to make a choice. Either he stands with America 100%, regardless of political party, put America first, or he doesn't. Okay, you can't play both sides of this fence. That's not how it works. Because I tell you what, I've noticed that all these pro-Palestinian protesters, Iranian anybody from the Middle East, anybody that has to do with the Muslim religion, they don't play both sides of the fence. Okay? Whether they're born in America, in the UK, no matter what it is, as they get older, they still are taught to hold an allegiance to the country of their origin, where their ancestors came from. But yet they want everybody to bend the knee to them. Okay? So now, since this shit is hitting the fan, the left is not getting their way because that baby that they bred and they fed is getting bigger. Now all this is turning full circle on them. Okay? Now I'll commend him for what he just said because it's true. It's 100% true. You don't go and wave your flag after a country has opened their arms to you and make it seem like, you know what, now this is going to be my country the way I see it. No, that's not how it works. Okay? That's not how it goes. But try telling that to these staunch, I'm not even going to use the word staunch because it's not, that's too easy. Just try telling that to people from the Middle East that are born and raised in a mindset that, you know what, they're victims until they're the majority, and then they make other people victims. Okay? And I really don't give a flying rat's ass on who I offend on this because it's the damn truth. I mean, we're seeing it more and more and more. And yet, Christians are being murdered, raped, and persecuted worldwide more than any other group of people, especially when it comes to religion, and nobody wants to really talk about it. Okay? Now, I'm not trying to take away from what's going on between Israel and Palestine. That's not what I'm trying to do, because obviously there's a war going on. What I'm saying is that you're born and raised in America. You're making it seem as if all of America is horrible, but yet, even though you know that it's the government that's in power now that hasn't done anything to have a ceasefire, because you see all these protesters going after Joe, calling him Genocide Joe and all that, instead of you just focusing on that part of the problem, which is the government that's in power now, no, you're taking it out on all of America and think that you're going to plant your damn flag in this country. Okay? So, with that being said, the next clip I'm going to show you is of Eric Adams again. You need to listen to what he says about these protests that are going on. And when it's all said and done, with everybody listening, with all you people listening, I don't want to hear another damn thing about the January 6th committee saying that if anybody thinks that there was outside agitators infiltrating the crowd at the Capitol that stirred up problems, that Nancy Pelosi had nothing to do with being a part of it, I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear it. Okay, because people on the right have been saying it for the longest, that there is a coordinated effort of people on the left and the powers that be that like to stoke the fires of this chaos and this destruction when it comes to our society, lest anybody forget the so-called summer of love a few years back. The way the mainstream media, regardless of what building was burning, who was getting killed, who was being attacked, to them it was all a peaceful protest. But now one of their own is speaking out. So here we go. This came out 2 days ago, people. So pay attention to what Eric Adams has to say, and I'm going to put my thoughts into it. Here we go.
We are joined now by Mayor Eric Adams of New York City. Mr. Mayor, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
So this is the second time in 2 weeks that Columbia has called upon the NYPD to help clear out protesters on campus. Is sending the police in riot gear the best way to de-escalate what is already a tense situation?
Well, there were two operations tonight. One was with CUNY and one was with Columbia University. And once I became aware of the outside agitators who were part of this operation, as Columbia mentioned in their letter and their request with
Okay, did you hear what he said? The first thing right there, outside agitators. It's funny how, again, the left bred and raised this baby, and now that it's getting out of control, now they're coming out and say that there's outside agitators. But you know what? Excuse me. I'm not going to disagree with him. I'm going to wholeheartedly agree with him, and I want anybody and everybody, okay, that has at least half a brain to realize and say, you know what, yes, we are going to go with that. You know why? Because it's something that has been said from people on the right, from Republicans, from conservatives, that the left, they love to send people in to stir up the crowd, to start trouble, to start the chaos. And we're always told we're conspiracy theorists. Nobody's going to do that. There are no outside actors. It's not even that. It's everybody in the crowd. Everybody in the crowd. All the MAGA supporters. Everybody in the crowd. So now, yes, now we can finally say this is just the beginning. There's still more. But now we can finally start saying, you know what? Your own boy said it. Why is it that only when the shit is hitting your side of the fence, there's agitators in the crowd? But when it comes on our side of the fence, no, that's all you people. You guys are conspiracy theorists. Nobody's out there trying to stir trouble. Really? Okay, we'll see. Let's continue.
The New York City Police Department, it was clear we had to take appropriate actions. When our intelligence division identified those who were professionals, well-trained, one of them was married to someone that was arrested for terrorism, we knew these children were being...
Did you hear that? One of them was married to one of them was or is married to one that was arrested for terrorism. I'm going to play that back so you guys can hear that. Okay, because when I heard this, I was like, why are they sending people into a college campus? Obviously, these are adults. It makes me wonder why everybody has their face covered. Okay, it just makes sense. I did also mention in one of my other videos, where is Antifa? Where is Black Lives Matter? Have you noticed that they're not in the crowds helping? Or is it that they're in the crowds, but they're just under the guise that they're not Antifa or Black Lives Matters? They're just in there because they're being paid to do it. Another conspiracy that people say is a conspiracy, that Antifa is not a, paid like government entity. Okay? Does a certain person's name ring a bell by any chance, or come to mind, I should say, because I'm not going to say his name. I'll say it in Spanish. His name is Jorge. Huh? By any chance, anybody know somebody that might be behind some of this? Just saying, my opinion. But listen to what he says. Let's go.
Identified those who were professionals, well-trained. One of them was married to someone that was arrested for terrorism. We knew these children were being exploited and they were in danger, and would have been irresponsible not to reply to requests from Columbia University.
Mr. Mayor, when you say that the protests have been co-opted by professional outside agitators, how do you distinguish between those outside agitators and students who are just protesting peacefully? And who is this individual who is connected to a terrorist?
Well, and it's not singular, it's plural, several organizations and groups. I want to be clear on that. We did not take this action lightly, and once the Columbia University team and leadership in their letter acknowledging that outside agitators were on their campus grounds, we looked at our intel and information. I was briefed by the intelligence division, and they were able to identify organizations and individuals who were not students, but were professional agitators. And we realized after the breaking into Hamilton Hall, some of the tactics, some of the methods, these are clearly being used across the globe, and we understood that how really dangerous this situation had become.
Okay, did you hear what he said? Every word, people. One of the main things he said, these are tactics that are being used across the globe. This is not something that is just stirred up since last October. Things like this take time, take training. You got to get the right people. You have to set up the right organizations. You got to get the money flowing. So this is not something that was just conjured up in the past few months. No, this is something that's been going on for a very long time. But once again, people on the left, when it doesn't fit their narrative, they're like, no, that's not what it is. All the people on the right that do anything, that have any kind of protest, that start any trouble, that's all them, 100%. 100%. They're just looking for a scapegoat by saying that there was people in the crowd that they didn't affiliate with, they have nothing to do with them, but that's bullshit. Those are their people. But you just heard the man just come out and say this is something that's going on all around the globe. That's a massive, how can I say, I don't know, psyop, for lack of a better term. Like, you get a bunch of people together. I mean, you can put it on all kinds of levels of criminality. I don't know. There's RICO statutes in this. There's gang statutes in this. There's organized crime statutes. I mean, every single thing that they try to put on everybody else that doesn't agree with their agenda, you might as well start turning it right back on them, because this is their baby. They bred it. They raised it. Okay? And for whatever reason, which it blows my mind, because it's like, okay, the only reason why, there's only two reasons why I could see them letting this get so out of hand, but there's a main one, so everybody needs to pay attention. Number one, they're trying to distract of what's going on at the border, which nobody's forgotten. They're trying to show, like, kind of like show face, and hold on to their voter base to say, okay, we're going to start the problem, and then we're going to swoop right in like the heroes that fix it. Too late for that shit. Okay? And a couple of other ideas that I have, but the one main idea, the one main thing that people need to pay attention to, and I said it in one of my videos a couple of days ago, is that these protests will ramp up. They will let them ramp up. They will let them get out of control, because we are what? We are months away from an election. A very important election. And if they let these protests get out of hand, what's going to happen? Think about it. They're going to try to shut down voting. Call me a conspiracy theorist. But people called me a conspiracy theorist years ago when I said that, you know what, January 6th, there was no way that there was no infiltrators in that crowd. Oh no, there's no way, man. There's no way. That would have taken a coordinated effort to do that. No shit. Yeah, no kidding. And who would be behind something like that? Huh? Organizations. The government. See where I'm going with this, people? But let's continue.
Okay, but Mr. Mayor, give us some information on who this individual or individuals who are connected to terrorism found themselves in police custody, which I'm guessing they are now in police custody?
Well, if you look at, you can find this information. They're proudly acknowledging themselves on social media platforms, and I'm going to let the Intelligence Division do their job on what information should be released and what information should not be released. And when we do an analysis of all those who were arrested, a substantial number of them were not students of CUNY and were not students of Columbia University.
Mayor Adams, for those who are protesting peacefully, how do you respect and allow the right to free speech while protecting those involved in enforcing the law?
And I think that's so important to point out, because I was a protester as a child. I protested against the South African apartheid movement. I protested when there were unfortunate interactions with young people who were shot by police officers. So I know how to protest and understand the power of protest. But we must make sure that that protest never turned into violence. And when you saw the breaking into Hamilton Hall, that was clearly not protesting your right to protest, that was committing a crime. And what we did as independent outside news journalists.
I'm going to stop this real quick for a second. Again, people, you see the way they were breaking the windows? Whose MO is that whenever there was protesting? Yeah, you're right, Antifa. They go and break all the windows in the stores. Wherever there was glass, they were busting windows. What happened January 6th? Who went in front of the crowd and started busting windows? Same fashion. Tell me, convince me. I'm not saying that these are the same people that did it, but convince me that it wasn't some organization that is training people to do this. I don't know. Let's continue.
Is reported. We use a level of professionalism, and we made sure that a minimum amount of force was used to eradicate the problem that was taking place in CUNY and on Columbia's ground.
Mayor Adams, have you spoken to any of these students from both sides of this conversation? I'm wondering what they're telling you, but more importantly, how do you then have a larger conversation to make sure all students are safe?
And yes, I have communicated with many. It's unfortunate, and I just believe we as a country are making a big mistake. There's a desire to radicalize our children coming out of COVID, using social media and methods of really...
What did he just say there? Anybody catch that? Let's go back. Let's just see what he said. Because once again, this is what the right's been saying. This is what a lot of my videos are all about. This is what a lot of videos that are being put out of people, putting out content saying they're trying to radicalize the kids. But no, you can't do that. That's bullshit. Let's listen one more time to what he's saying.
And yes, I have communicated with many. It's unfortunate, and I just believe we as a country are making a big mistake. There's a desire to radicalize our children coming out of COVID, using social media and methods of really radicalizing our children. When you have only 18% of 18 to 30-year-olds of really loving this country, that should be a wake-up signal.
18% of 18 to 30-year-olds that really love this country. And people think, okay, that anybody that's pointing out these facts, that they're crazy. Okay? They know that people are waking up to the ugliness of America. No, it's the left that's radicalizing people, and they're making them hate this country. 18% of people between 18 and 30 that love this country. Do you know that in World War II, as a matter of fact, my stepfather who raised me, okay, he lied to go to Vietnam. He was 14. He didn't look it. They did catch him though, and they sent his ass back home. He was upset, but I mean, a lot of guys did that. During World War I and World War II, the mindset for loving America was so different that there were people 14, 15, 16 years old lying to get drafted, lying so they can go fight a war against Hitler and the Nazis. What do we have now? The country that has given these so-called social justice warriors a place to lay their head and be safe, they're making them hate the country. Okay? But let's continue.
For all of us. And I have had a series of meetings with students. We have been meeting with various faith-based groups. This is nothing new for me. My Breaking Bread, Building Bonds, over 1,000 dinners of people sitting down together to communicate. We have to start understanding this diverse city. We must come together, and we can't use violence and calling for the destruction of a people like we are hearing with the anti-Semitism that we're seeing.
So,
okay. I agree. When he said about the faith-based outreach that they're doing, that's what they need. You can't take God out the equation and not expect stuff like this to happen. Okay, you can't. These are not all God-fearing Christians running out there doing this. No, they're not. They're just not. I'm sorry. That's not what we do. But now all this is coming to light. The baby that they bred and they fed is getting bigger and is more whiny and more bitchy. So I'm not going to say I tip my hat off to Eric Adams because, like I said in my title and my thumbnail, is he being red-pilled? Is he grifting? Is he doing this to hold on to power because he knows he's losing grip, especially after Trump went to New York and said pretty much New York is most likely going to turn red? Or is it that he really sees what's going on? He's like, wait a minute, this is getting out of control. This is getting out of control, and there's a lot more that needs to be done, just not these protests. His next step is he's going to have to start doing what the people want. And one of the things the people want, who are speaking out en masse, is to start getting rid of all the illegals that are taking over New York. You see all the bullshit, the way the left do things, they let it boil up and boil up and boil up. And now all of a sudden, Biden's boy, okay, for whatever reason, it's like, we can't have this. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. This is what people have been saying for the longest. But let's finish this off. Here we go.
To that question, Mr. Mayor, the anti-Semitism, the rhetoric that we've seen, not just in New York, but across the country, what is the city doing to address that situation? And have you spoken to other mayors about that sharp rise in anti-Semitism?
Yes, and it's not only across the country, has become a global movement, but it's more than just the terms of hate, Islamophobia, attack on Sikh communities.
No, you see, I'm going to stop right there. It's not about Islamophobia. Okay, it's not. See, this is where he'll lose people. It's like it's not Islamophobia. They're the ones causing the trouble. Okay? People may say not all. Yeah, granted, not all. But the ones that are not, where are they protesting against this? They're not out there. And they won't be out there. Because they look out for each other no matter what. They are taught from birth to the day they die. They don't go against each other. This has nothing to do with Islamophobia. This has to do with the radicalization of how they like to push their radicalized ideas on people. That's what the freaking problem is. It's not because America says, oh, we just don't want people from the Middle East here. No, it's not that. Is that look who's coming and look at what they're doing. Just look at what's going on in Britain. Okay? Britain opened up their arms for centuries, in my opinion, or maybe at least 100 years. And you got Brits, you got people whose family came from the Middle East. I mean, they're born and raised in Britain. They're British, citizens and all that, and they're still going after Britain and taking sides with the people, their ancestors from their motherland. Well, I shouldn't say their motherland, because Britain should be their motherland. They were born there, but they don't see it that way. So it's not Islamophobia. Okay? It's not. Okay? It's the Islamist extremism that they spread. He just finished saying the radicalization of what they're doing to kids. They're radicalizing them. Who's radicalizing them? It ain't Christians. It ain't Catholics. It ain't Buddhist monks. Okay? I mean, it's not Tibetan monks. You know what I'm saying? It's not those people. It's definitely not. So this is where I have a problem with him. That if you're going to stick to the point, stick to it. Don't try to make it seem like, oh, well, there's a lot of hate going on, with the Islamophobia. No, sorry, buddy. You don't get away with that one. But let's go.
Going after LGBTQ plus communities.
Here we go.
You are seeing a rise of hate in our country that we must push back on. And I have communicated with our other mayors. I was in Atlanta a few days ago for the African Americans Mayors Association. We talked about this. I sat down with the mayor of Denver as well. We understand that this is going to impact cities, and we're coming together as mayors across the entire country and communicating with our mayors outside the country to talk about how do we safeguard our cities and don't allow this continuation of a global attempt to radicalize young people in these cities.
Okay, now here's the thing. I'm gonna end it right there. There's only 6 seconds left. What he's saying, it sounds all good, but a lot of it's bullshit. It went from sounding good to turning to bullshit. He is right though, that a lot of the young people worldwide, he keeps saying it, are being radicalized. They're not being radicalized by the right. They're being radicalized by the left. Okay? But he has to turn it around and say, Islamophobia, against, what do you say, homophobia, so, in other words, being homophobic, being Islamophobic, whatever those things are. But it's like, you're not understanding. This is not coming from the right. The kids are not being radicalized from people on the right. They're being radicalized by your people, your party, your organizations. And even with all that thrown in his face, and he made some good points, but now it's like, well, you just blew it. This is why I always say that the Democrats, they eat themselves. You can't just man up and say, you know what? We screwed up. No, he has to throw that little dig in there. But it's not working. People are not stupid. People are waking up. Okay? People are waking up. Now, I'll give him a little bit of kudos for pointing out the obvious. But now he's going to have to own it and say, at some point, you know what? Yeah, I did say what I said, but now I'm going to change my stance on that. I'm going to stick to what I said, but at the same time, I'm going to have to admit that it's actually not chaos coming from the right. All the chaos is being caused from people on the left. The elitists, the globalists, whoever it is on the left that wants to, like he's saying, radicalize the kids, it's their fault. Plain and simple. Because it's true. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. Pass the channel around. Give it a thumbs up. If you want to help support the channel, I'll leave a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal and my merch store, truelopatriot.com. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the children. And keep praying for this country. Peace.